Hello there, I'm Chris, and today I'm going to walk you through a tutorial in Wisdom Timer on how to use the target time mode. So let's consider the scenario where you're guiding a meditation or you're leading a yoga class or some kind of class that needs a timer with intervals, and you've got a known time at which you want to end the session. It might be a meditation class, for example. So your guests come and they meditate from 20 to 8 and then they finish meditating at 20 past 8. So you've got a 40-minute slot, but sometimes you start a bit sooner. Maybe you start at 25 to 8. Sometimes you start a bit later. Maybe you start at quarter to 8 or 10 to 8. But you always want to do the same kind of meditation, or you have no anticipation of when you're going to start, basically. So if you know when the meditation or whatever the session is going to end, target time mode is what you can use to help you divide the time chunks accordingly without having to think too much about when to ring your bells if you're controlling the bells yourself, or when to say what you want to say if you're not using bells. Maybe you just want to say something. Maybe you want to do both. Maybe you want to say something and ring bells too. Anyway, so here we go. So up on the screen here, I've got the example timer, mindfulness of breathing, and it's the example with the audio recording. So I'm going to save a copy of that. That will remove the example audio. So we'll call it mindfulness of breathing, and it will finish at, so the current time is 3:25 p.m. on my system. So we'll call it 15, oh no, let's change that slightly. Let's go with 16:20. Okay. So we save that. We'll make it public. And there we go. So currently mindfulness of breathing at 16:20. We need to make a few changes before it's actually correctly configured. So we go to the duration here and we leave the duration as it is at 20 minutes because the interval bells are arranged relative to that 20 minutes. It's important that we bear in mind that going into the target time mode. So if we select duration again and come into this target end time toggle here, we see a time is selected, and by default it selects half an hour in the future from whatever the time is when you enable it. If I click on info here, it says target end time. If enabled, it sets a time at which you want the timer to end. When the timer is started, it scales your selected duration and interval bell times accordingly. So we said 16:20, didn't we? So let's make that end at 16:20. It could be like 8:20 p.m. or whatever, depends on what time you want your time to finish. So there we go. Click save on that. So now you can see under duration, it now says 2 in brackets, which is the warm-up, and then at 16:20, which means it's got target time enabled, that's the at, and then 16:20, which is the time at which it's going to end. So let's now play the timer and see what happens. Actually, before I do that, if I click save, we have to click save if we want to update any timers, particularly if they're public. If we want the changes that we've made to be published, we have to click save. So here we go. Let's click on the play button. So as you can see, we've got the current time displaying here, and then an end time displaying up here in the top right. And currently it's not in guide mode, so we can't really see enough to help me with this tutorial. So I'll also enable guide mode. There's another tutorial on guide mode if you'd like to watch that. But for now, the guide mode is just being enabled for this tutorial just to help me with the time travel. So let's play that again. So now we see guide mode is enabled. We see what's next and when it's happening. So if I skip time by 1 minute and 30 seconds, it should jump ahead, and you'll also see that the current time has also time traveled. So this is all a demo. You can't actually do this in the production app. There we go. So now we're in the aware of out breath, and the actual timer, if it was to run from now without any time skipping, we see we've got just under 50 minutes to go from now until 4:20, and 12 minutes until the next stage. It's divided all those sections into into chunks relative to their position in the original timer as its duration was set. So let's do another time skip, and this time we'll go ahead 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So there we go, we've jumped ahead now. Well, gone up to 3:42 p.m. or 15:42 if you prefer the 24-hour clock. So we now transition into the next stage, aware of the in-breath. And now we'll do another time skip. This time we're going to skip ahead 12 minutes and 5 seconds. And again, we've jumped forward to 15:55. And we're now into the third stage of the mindfulness of breathing, awareness of whole breath. This stage has still got some time to go. So we'll do another time skip, another 12 minutes, 5 seconds. That's taken us forward to 16:07. And we're now in the final stage, and there's a returning step that will trigger at the end without a bell, so we'll just time step up to that. 9 minutes 30 seconds, something like that. So now we're near to the end of the time, and you see it's approaching the actual end time. So we've got 3.5 minutes left in the entire timer. So if we just jump forwards a couple of minutes, 2 minutes 5 seconds, you'll see that it should end at the configured time. There we go. So that's the target end time. Finish that there. Hopefully that'll be of use to some of you. If you'd like to completely relax when you're guiding meditations, you can just plug in the time at which you want to finish your meditation timer, and the app will do it all for you. You see we've got it based on a 20 minute duration here. So that's the important value that you leave set. So you set a duration here, configure your interval bells relative to the duration that you set here, and then whatever target end time you set down here, it will scale them accordingly. Just one note there, the warm-up is not included in that, so you could shorten that or lengthen that depending on how you feel. Okay. All right, thanks for your attention, thanks for coming and listening to this tutorial, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers, bye.